In England, your motorcycle could soon be scrapped, and in the worst-case scenario, it might happen without you being able to do anything about it or even knowing about it. Starting in 2025, the UK plans to scrap motorcycles much more rapidly, even if the owner themselves hasn't necessarily done anything wrong. A new draft law outlines that vehicles could be confiscated and scrapped after just 48 hours if, for example, they are connected to incidents classified as antisocial behavior. This includes illegal off-road driving or speeding during nighttime hours. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that you've personally participated in or been accountable for such behavior. In the worst-case scenario, it could potentially happen without you even realizing it at all. The shortened deadline could especially hit motorcyclists hard. What's driving this proposal? How does a seizure like this actually unfold? And why has it sparked such widespread outrage and concern?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Imagine your bike gets stolen, thieves take it for an illegal joyride, and before you even get the chance to reclaim it, it ends up in the crusher for scrap. That could soon become a reality in England. The British government is currently considering proposals to significantly reduce the timeframes for the disposal of confiscated vehicles. Instead of the previous 14 working days, it will soon be reduced to just 48 hours. That's 2 calendar days, including weekends and public holidays, with no exceptions. The objective is to implement harsher measures against antisocial driving behavior on the roads, including loud speeding, illegal off-roading, or dangerous stunts performed with motorcycles and quads. The intention to address certain misconduct is understandable at first glance, but the implementation raises quite a few questions. The foundation for such measures is provided by the Police Reform Act 2002, Section 59. According to this law, a uniformed police officer may seize a vehicle if it is being used in a manner that violates traffic regulations and, through the driving style, causes harassment or distress to others, frightened or agitated. This includes actions like loud acceleration, wheelies in residential zones, or illegal off-road driving on public grounds and parks. Generally, the rule is that for the first offence, a formal Section 59 warning is issued, which is valid for 12 months. If the driver is caught again within this time frame, regardless of the vehicle involved, the current vehicle can be immediately impounded. In certain cases, such as when the driver flees or cannot be identified, this prior warning may be omitted. Motorcycles, mopeds, and quads stand out. They're often used for illegal off-road rides or nighttime speeding, particularly in cities. But cars can also be affected, such as with burnouts or drift actions. What's new is that in the future, a prior warning may no longer even be necessary if the vehicle, for example, can no longer be clearly assigned to a driver by the police. So if you lend out a bike that then gets misused, or if your motorcycle gets stolen, you could be left with a mess in the worst-case scenario. But how are you supposed to respond within 48 hours if you don't even know about the incident? The big issue is that this measure doesn't just target troublemakers. If your motorcycle is stolen and used for crimes or illegal actions, it can still be confiscated and scrapped after 2 days. Before you even had a chance to react. Especially on weekends or holidays, many authorities are unreachable, leaving you with no immediate options. Insurers need time, lawyers as well, and if you're on vacation, it gets particularly tight. Affected owners are supposed to receive a notification, but that also takes time, and as long as you don't take action, the clock keeps ticking. 48 hours, whether it's a regular weekday or Christmas, and regardless of whether you've even noticed the theft yet, or if the official notification about the recovery of your vehicle has actually managed to reach you in the first place. The clock is ticking. A fair process probably looks quite different. In the UK, police have the authority to seize vehicles under various circumstances. Driving without insurance or a valid license, antisocial behavior on the road, hit-and-run incidents, or refusing a police check, as well as endangering others through improper parking or technical defects. In 2023 alone, over 129,000 vehicles were impounded due to lack of insurance. In many cases, it's private owners, motorcycles included. If a vehicle is seized, it ends up on a contracted parking lot. The owner typically has up to 3 weeks to reclaim the vehicle by presenting proper identification, insurance, and if required, proof of the main inspection. If he remains inactive, the vehicle may be scrapped or auctioned off even at this stage. The proposed amendment would cut this period down to just 2 days, and that remains the case even if the owner had no knowledge whatsoever of the incident. Another point is causing frustration. Even if you're not at fault, you're still required to pay. For towing, for storage, and potentially for disposal, and that's far from being cheap. Towing costs around £223, so about €262. Storage per day, roughly £15. Disposal around £74, although according to the current plan, the costs are expected to increase even further. On top of that, the insurer might later raise the premiums, even if you were proven to be innocent. This, of course, only applies to vehicles registered in England. The British government maintains these charges aren't designed as a penalty, but in reality, you as the owner are ultimately responsible for the costs. The scrapyard isn't always the inevitable final outcome. For higher value vehicles, they might instead be sent off to auction houses. And what happens to the proceeds when your bike is auctioned? First, the incurred costs are covered, as mentioned earlier, such as the towing fees, storage expenses, and any administrative charges, the storage, etc. The remaining amount can be claimed by the owner within 12 months, provided you even find out that your motorcycle was sold. After this period expires, the money is transferred into police funds, for example, for community projects or administrative purposes. The plans face broad criticism. Motorcycle groups, civil rights advocates, and legal experts are all sounding the alarm. Because the regulation could jeopardize the rule of law and property protection. Without an effective way to defend themselves, owners lose their property, even if they are innocent. Added to this, the police are already heavily overburdened. Drastically shortening the deadlines could lead to even more administrative effort, errors, and unclear responsibilities. And what about all those cases where a vehicle was initially flagged as suspicious but later proved to be completely harmless? Even if the regulation initially only applies to the UK, it could have a signalling effect. If the model gains traction, similar ideas could be discussed in other countries as well. In Germany too, there's frequently ongoing debate about imposing harsher penalties for traffic violations and noise complaints. For motorcyclists, this means staying alert and vigilant. The consultation phase continues until the 8th of July 2025. Anyone who wants to participate can write directly to the UK Home Office by email, post, or through the official questionnaire. Of course, there's nothing stopping non-British individuals from sending a supportive email here. Especially the foreign policy impact or their perspective on the planned tightening can also make a significant difference. The idea of consistently cracking down on reckless drivers is understandable, but it shouldn't come at any cost, no matter the circumstances. Punishing the innocent risks eroding trust in the rule of law system. What do you think? Is this the right way to go, or is it completely over the top?